guys! This is Tiligaya. How are you? I'm sure you have heard of the explosion sa Lebanon. Major issue siya ngayon. Some say na terrorist attack. Well, what is clear for us is it is due to some material na na-store sa Beirut. Did I pronounce it correctly? Beirut Lebanon. So, we're gonna talk about it today. This compound is known as ammonium nitrate. So, ammonium nitrate is actually implicated on some major explosions in the past. That's why it's required to handle this kind of material carefully by some government organizations, not just in the Philippines, but also in other countries. Now, before anything else, I want to clarify the difference between a fire and an explosion. Well, visually, you can distinguish the difference between these two, but what is really present in one that's not on the other? Well, fire is when a substance consumes oxygen to produce light and energy. While explosion is when an energy rapidly expands away from the source. It should be rapid and concentrated enough to produce pressure waves. So this wave is actually what causes the damage. In the case of Lebanon's explosion, there is a massive shipment. Based on the informations, there is a massive shipment of a fertilizer, which was, as mentioned, ammonium nitrate, that was stored in port of Beirut, Lebanon for 6 years. So that's a long time. Within those 6 years, hindi natin alam kung anong nangyari sa material na yan. Did it decompose? Did it have any other compounds with it na nakasama sa storage? So we don't have yet that information. But based on CNN report, the ship was carrying around 2,750 metric tons of ammonium nitrate. That's a lot. To cut the story short, because of some financial and legal issues, natenga yung ship sa port ng Beirut. And then it was actually abandoned. Hindi na naasikaso yung mga issues. Hindi na nabalikan ng owner. Actually, may issue pa nga na hindi nabayaran yung mga crew. So, inabandon na talaga yung ship doon. So, since may legal issues siya, inconfiscate ng authorities ng Lebanon yung mga ammonium nitrate na nasa ship. So, nilagay nila siya sa isang warehouse and dun siya nag-stay for 6 years. There were actually warnings and requests made by some of the officials, but it was not resolved for some reasons. I don't know. But I'm not yet sure what really triggered the explosion. I don't know what was the condition during the storage of this material, but here are some key points. Well, the chemical formula of this is composed of nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen. So, NH4 and O3. Ammonium nitrate, or shall we say AN. Physically, it is a white crystalline solid material that is composed of ions of ammonium nitrate. Its melting point is 170 degrees Celsius, and in above 210 degrees Celsius, it decomposes. So, during that process of decomposition, it releases heat or energy. So, we call this condition exothermal. Kasi napoproduce siya ng heat. Well, for example, I don't know the condition of these 2,750 metric tons ng ammonium nitrate. But if you consider that kind of amount, releasing an energy simultaneously, that's a lot. If you want to convert it to kilogram, just multiply the value by 1,000. Well, ammonium nitrate is not combustible in itself, but it is an oxidizing agent. Some of you know that there are 3 elements sa isang sunog. We need an oxidizing agent, a combustible material, and an ignition source. Ammonium nitrate can be an element of a fire. Although there is a difference, as I said a while ago, there is a difference between a fire and explosion. In the right condition of pressure, temperature, humidity, it can explode. As I mentioned, it is an oxidizing agent, so naturally, it is corrosive. So, for metals to contact with this kind of material, nagre-rust sila, nagkakaroon ng reaction, and that is actually not desirable. So, when you want to store this kind of material, but to avoid unnecessary reactions, don't use beans made up of copper, iron, lead, and zinc. AN also has a property that readily absorbs moisture. So, pag nag-absorb siya ng moisture, the tendency is it agglomerates, it cakes, it clumps. There is a case in Germany last 1912. Ammonium nitrate was actually stored together with ammonium sulfate in a silo. So I guess the condition was not right. That's why yung ammonium nitrate and ammonium sulfate agglomerated, created a huge solid mass. Hindi nila siya malabas sa silo kasi nga sobrang tigas na niya. So what they did was they used a small explosive to break this large mass into smaller masses para malabas nila ito. What they did not know is that it is not safe. It killed 600 people. It destroyed cities. No time na yun. So again, for safety reminder, that these kinds of material are not actually something that you can just buy anywhere. So there are rules set by the government dahil nasa risk na to. So when you know someone which is in possession of large amount of this kind of material, not just ammonium nitrate, make sure they have permits. Make sure their area was inspected. Kasi at the end of the day, it is for our own safety. Imagine the damage that it can do. Maybe not now, but in maybe after 6 years or 12 years, we don't know. Do not store large amounts of these kinds of material for a long time. The tendency is you might forget or you might get too careless about the risks of these materials. Do not store it in a bin that will react to it. Store it in a well-ventilated area. Yun lang guys. So I hope hindi na ito maulit pa. Let's get educated. Let's get well-informed. That's the only key para ma-prevent natin yung mga gantong accidents. Yun lang guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell button. Have a nice day!